Welcome back, folks, to the Machine of Nonsense. Today, we're gonna, as promised, talk about the worst actor ever.
Who are you?
It's General.
Michael Nelson's back.
Josh.
Technically.
Oh, I forgot about that name! Holy shit! I like that name.
And your pseudo one-fourth host, Eric.
The muscle-bound Solaric.
Muscle-bound, apparently.
Yeah, you're literally bound by your muscles.
I am bound.
Yes.
My bones do not shoot out ever. So.
Eric is a human being.
Yes, with a normal skeletal structure.
Yeah.
Shorter than I should be.
No, an hour of...
Alright, so we're gonna discuss who is the worst actor ever.
That was the beginning. Shit.
Just as promised.
Yes, I believe I have two that I would like to speak of.
Oh, you're starting.
for it.
Someone wants to start.
He just said he didn't want to start.
Is a shitty character who had a role, but he fucked it up in a movie. If y'all ever heard of a movie called Blood and Bone,
Nope.
No.
Haven't.
it's a guy who's popular on internet named Kimbo Slice. He got his ass whooped in a prison for like 3 seconds.
Wow.
He's supposed to be the badass.
And he was...
Got his ass whooped.
Well, that's not his fault. That is the character that was
Well, we're talking
written
about
for him.
actors, General.
So he was really bad in this? Like, he didn't... his lines were bad?
General's problem is he cannot believe that Kimbo Slice would ever be beaten by anybody.
Right.
Terrible
Gotcha.
actor. Terrible.
Right. You didn't believe that he was getting it in the face.
I mean, that was part of the script, but
That was part of the
he was
script.
just plainly. The point is, he was just playing horrible.
Right.
I mean, he could have done
Imagine if
better.
that wasn't part of the script. It's supposed to be like a rom-com.
What's your other one? You said you had two.
Oh, the other one,
Is it also Kimbo Slice?
Slice Kimbo.
other one. I mean, it was kind of okay, but he could have done better with his character.
Can we please have General
Was-
review some movies?
Orlando Bloom, man.
Oh, shit.
Okay. In what movie? Or just in all of his movies?
I
He's a bad actor.
Troy. I mean, come on, man.
Very specific.
Okay.
You're supposed to be this fighting
No, he wasn't actually.
prince,
He was actually...
and you getting your ass
General,
whooped
that was
in
his
front of your
character.
family.
That was literally his character.
Yeah.
No, but he wasn't playing his part right. It was just
Wasn't right.
shitty.
Oh.
You hear that? Bloom?
Bloom.
Lou Bloom?
Yeah.
Don't
Read some
you
more
dare.
Homer, you bloom.
Don't you dare make fun of Lou Bloom.
Yeah.
So what is... Do we judge this off of... Are they could be in bad movies?
No, bad actors.
Just their
Their
bad.
ability is bad.
Yeah, because sometimes
Ability is bad.
there's a good actor in a bad movie, and
Sure.
he kind of brings it up a little. He makes it
Right,
mediocre.
but I
instead
just
of
wonder... Is it just... It's their whole career...
Well, I don't think it has to be just somebody who like a good actor who's been in a bad movie is not a bad thing. If he was a shitty actor in that movie, that's the difference.
Like Peter Dinklage recently
Oh,
was in Destiny.
and also
And it
Little
was
People.
really
What's
bad.
What's
Pixels.
Destiny?
The show,
I don't
the
know
game.
what that
Sorry,
is.
the game.
Oh, okay.
He was in Pixels and a movie called Tiptoes
Tiptoes. That was what I was thinking of.
with Gary Oldman.
And Matthew McConaughey and Kate Beckinsale.
Yes.
Wow.
So does Tobey Maguire fit the shitty character in Spider-Man? I mean,
3 specifically, yes.
I thought he made a fine Spider-Man.
3.
3.
I don't know why 3 is so hated. I mean,
It's funny.
sure the emo Spider. Are we saying emo Spider-Man is?
And also, how's the pie?
I don't necessarily remember that.
It's creepy.
Okay, so there's specific scenes because I do
Yes.
remember the emo Spider-Man scene was kind of.
I
great.
watched that like 2 days
He's
ago.
in a black
Actually,
suit.
hilarious.
And then he was acting shitty to Mary Jane.
I don't know.
But go on, Nelson.
Where was I?
Shitty actors.
You're right. That is the
Well, you were
topic.
asking: is
Yeah, I
it
don't
is
know.
it one role? Is it their whole career?
Yes.
Is it
However, what I just want
what
some
is
guidelines.
right?
Um,
I personally think it's the whole career.
whole career.
Yeah.
Just if they're shitty.
I have a good answer. It's not funny though.
I don't know if I've ever noticed that their acting is bad. I was bringing up Peter Dinklage, by the way.
Yes,
Right.
Yes, you were.
But like he is known as a very good actor.
Yeah,
I think.
I think he's known as a very good actor in one role.
As Tyrion, okay.
He's good in
I think
Death at a Funeral.
yes,
yeah,
that was
he's
what I
really
was going to
good.
bring
He's
up.
true.
He's in both Death at a Funerals, and he's the same. He's the same character in the
Right.
same lines, and it's weird, but
He recorded
Destiny.
voice acting work for Destiny as a robot character. I don't forget that people call it Dinklebot.
and is it supposed to be bad?
It's very bad.
Oh, it's
It's
awful.
like he went in there, did it,
Yeah.
and just fucking
Is it his first
got out of there.
time
doing voice acting?
This is not excusable.
I don't know.
It's really
Oh,
bad.
okay.
very bad.
Yeah.
And recently, Bungie has got Nolan North, aka Nathan Drake,
Yes.
to re-record every bit of dialogue
Oh wow.
that Peter Dinklage did, because it's a big character going on with him.
It's the main
wow.
story.
Oh wow. Okay.
And
The Dinklebot is no more.
yeah, that is basically an update's happening. Peter Dinklage will never be in Destiny again. Do we judge that just one?
I think that's a fair answer.
Or-
Yeah.
He's been in bad.
That's not my answer. I'm
Yeah.
just wondering.
Oh,
if,
that's reasonable. But in a game, it's kind of hard because there's a lot of, I'm sure, editing that takes place. There's a lot of maybe his lines were delivered very
it's
stale,
and I guess it's not his. I mean, he was. I don't know what kind of direction he was getting.
right.
I don't know if they were just. Yeah, man, the
Right.
moon and shit. Yeah, because it's very.
Because he's not a robot, he's not that. Whereas, he's in Death at a Funeral.
Sure.
He's a little person
Yeah.
who's has to speak with an English accent, and
Sure.
that's you can believe it,
But
because
where-
that's what he does well.
Stephen Merchant did a robot character for Portal 2, and it's one of the people's favorite video games.
Sure.
Wheatley from Portal 2,
Correct.
He wasn't trying to act like, talk like a robot. Just did a good job.
Like the Snoop Dogg robot?
It's the Snoop Dogg robot.
GPS.
Oh, you can just get
Yeah, you can Snoop Dogg
Snoop
voice.
Dogg as your
That's great.
GPS. Well, I guess I don't ever really think of like, man, that guy's just a bad actor. I don't know if I've ever thought that. There's actors that I just like. Matthew Broderick comes to mind. I just don't.
You
like
Broderick.
I don't like anything that he does.
Glory.
I like the movie.
Yeah.
I guess I don't
Godzilla?
really remember.
Yeah, I guess he's kind
That
of
movie's hated, General. That's not a good movie. But
Ferris
that's
Bueller?
okay. I don't like Ferris
Yeah.
Bueller. I don't like that character.
Right.
I don't think anyone could have played Ferris. I just don't get that. I think Ferris is a piece of shit.
Right.
And he's fucking. His best friend was Cam. I think Cameron.
Yes.
Cameron. Love Cameron.
Well, the theory is that
But-
he's Cameron's alter ego.
We'll get into
kind of
the
progression.
theory.
Yeah.
cast.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
But that it makes sense in that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go
Matthew Broderick.
Matthew Broderick. Yeah,
Broderick.
suck.
Inspector Gadget.
Fuck
Oh, yeah,
that!
that was
I didn't
an
even like
awful
the
movie,
cartoon. General.
So, Josh,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a kick
Shots
in the
fired.
ass.
Fuck you, Matthew.
Motherfucking
You
missile.
murderer! I don't forget that shit. You murdered somebody with a car.
Well, yeah, I guess if you want to call him a bad actor, I mean, he literally murdered somebody, so.
Yeah.
In that respect, my answer is Scott Hall. We're just
Gosh.
doing murder actors.
What was Scott Hall in?
Wrestling?
Oh, we're just considering.
We're just doing
oh,
somebody
gosh.
murdered
No, we're just
somebody,
doing
that's what
murder.
he's
We're just doing murder.
Acting. Oh,
Murder.
Murder?
it's become the murder.
Like killing people?
Who did Scott Hall murder?
I told you about this. Scott Hall murdered 2 guys. Well, I think it was 1 guy. Before he was a wrestler, he murdered somebody in self-defense.
Oh, wow.
And he got away with it. He was in prison for 3 months or something like that.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, he literally murdered somebody with a
With a
gun.
razor?
Ah.
Razor gun? Cute, 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 cute.
And they called him Ramon?
Yeah, it was really weird. It was a very weird time in our lives. But as I was saying, I have a good answer, but not a funny answer. The good answer would be Steven Seagal.
Okay.
Right.
He would never convince me ever that he could beat me up.
That's a badass.
Yeah, I know in real life he probably could destroy me.
Maybe that's his whole thing. He wants to just be
But no,
Unassuming.
but he has.
Like, come on.
His roles are
Punk.
assuming. like I believe one of his roles was the assuming man.
Yeah.
He probably could kill you with a tooth.
20 years ago, though, like
Scott Hall
youngish, he was a lot thinner. He didn't look ridiculous
No.
like he does now.
But it's not about the ridiculousness.
Okay.
It's about
Just his
his
facial.
acting.
oh,
It's
his acting's
not-
awful.
Right, but like, I think when I see Arnold Schwarzenegger, I don't believe is trained in any form of combat. I don't think he's necessarily super strong either. He's got a lot of the showmanship muscles or whatever.
Sure.
What are they called?
Show muscle? No, I don't know.
It's something like
Lyra muscle?
Is it vanity muscles or something like that?
I think he took boxing.
Yeah.
While Eric thinks about that,
Yeah.
I think he took boxing.
but regardless,
Love you, Lyra.
I don't know. Like, I'm not 100% sure that Arnold Schwarzenegger could kick my ass. I'm thinking maybe 95% sure he could kick my ass. But, like, Steven Seagal, he would destroy me, like, as a person. But I am way more afraid of movie Hulk Hogan. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm way more afraid of...
Well, when he brings Horace out.
Yeah.
I'm way more afraid of movie Arnold Schwarzenegger than I am of movie Steven Seagal. He's not scary or intimidating or cool.
No, there's nothing cool about
Right,
Seagal.
but he's supposed
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
With that
Yeah.
slick back hair, man.
He got that
That
eye.
squinty eye. That squinty eye.
That eye.
One eye.
You're supposed to squint with both eyes. I just want to put that on record. It's not a one-eye thing. Did you think of the vanity muscle?
Yeah, I can't think of the vanity muscle.
I know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
There's a word for it. I just
Yeah, it's from It's Always Sunny. Like they.
Sure.
Yeah.
All our
They
science.
wanted to be like
No,
Muscle.
Mac. Like.
sure.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
just works out his arms, and I forget what they say to Mac. They're
Show
like,
muscles.
yeah, it's like that. It's like
something
show
along those
muscles, but
lines.
it's not show muscles.
But there is actual term. Like that's how like bodybuilders
Best in
and
shows.
Like Mr.
bodybuilders
Universe.
and weightlifters like kind of hate each other because weightlifters are the actual strong
yeah,
men. and then,
they're actually
Like
Right.
Mr. Universe.
whereas
well,
Arnold
Bill-
was just
yeah, they're just
the flexing.
right. They're called flex muscles from now on.
yeah, from now
Yes.
on, whatever it actually was.
Fuck that.
is
Flex
done.
muscles.
Yeah.
Flex the
Flexels.
muscles.
We're gonna do an Urban Dictionary now.
Do you have one, Eric?
Yeah, I do. And he's the, I believe, guitarist from Dogstar.
Oh.
Bassist, my friend.
Bassist.
He's right.
Bass guitarist. Bassist.
Yes.
He,
The headlining act for Weezer.
right, yeah, Weezer opened up for them. This would be the one, the
Yeah.
only, the Keanu Reeves.
I would disagree with that.
I know you would, and here's my thing. He's the same guy in every movie. He's been in awesome roles, awesome movies.
Matrix.
Point Break is a really cool heist movie. The Matrix is a really cool sci-fi movie. What's that? The one with Sandra Bullock. Speed is a.
Oh, I thought he meant the.
Skin
Or they they write letters back to each
Yeah.
other through time. It's like
Yeah.
not Speed,
Right.
not the
He's been in-
blockbuster movie.
He's been in, every type of movie. He's got immense range. I'm doing the air quotes again, people.
Yes,
Can confirm.
a legend.
Constantine, that movie, I wanted to smoke so bad after that movie. He made me want to smoke cigarettes because he made
Great
it look
actor.
really cool. But all of the facial features, all of everything that he does, even the clothes he wears, like, does Constantine wear different shit than Neo? I don't think so. Not in my mind, And does Speed Guy wear... I'm just
Oh, Speed
picturing
Guy.
Neo on the top of a bus right now.
But I'm
Like,
going to ruin your day here.
Go-
with this
go for
movie.
it.
Destroy your
Yeah.
day.
Oh, please do.
Is he a bad actor because he gets typecasted? That's not his problem.
I don't know if he does get typecasted
But
necessarily.
you said he plays the same character in every movie.
He makes that character the same because I don't know what Constantine, like, I've never read the Constantine graphic novels.
But here's the counterpoint to your
Yeah,
argument.
yeah.
Matthew McConaughey. For years typecasted.
I agree. I would
But
put,
now he's kind of known as a pretty great actor.
now, just because of pretty much, like, one role.
I always thought he was. So,
yeah,
honestly.
But
I equate them.
He
very-
broke the typecast. They're actually kind of typecasted similarly. Keanu Reeves is known for taking his shirt off in every single movie.
I'm sure Keanu's tried.
Right, he's got longer
Right.
arms.
47 Ronin.
But I think he'd be kind of okay with being typecasted. Why?
Well, he despises the Bill and Ted thing. I believe.
Right.
Like he never wants to like bring that up.
Right.
Everyone wants to go, whoa, like whoa, like that. You know,
Yeah,
he,
but
he hates that.
that's just Neo with like a 80s hair. Like that's what that's who that is. That's what Constantine is.
It's
that's
just
what,
Neo with 80 hairs.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Like,
Exactly 80 hairs.
Yeah, 80 hairs.
you guys have seen Scanner Darkly?
No,
right?
I've never.
I've
I'm
seen
interested
parts
in
of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
But he's in that. I'm guessing was an
Similar.
attempt to break out. Like he directed a film and like was like interviewing, and it's a documentary
Sure.
about
Sorry.
the move from digital film, like from the old style of filming movies.
The Rise and Fall of Dark Star.
And I'm sure that was an attempt. No, Josh, I'm not going to give you that. But yeah, I don't want to say he's been typecasted. I think he has had a somewhat variety in his roles.
Then you're saying Eric's just wrong.
but he hasn't taken advantage. No, I think
No, I
he's
don't.
had
I'm saying
variety.
I don't think he's been typecasted.
Oh, you just think that he had a variety of roles and he's been...
I think he has a thing that he does.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. Not everyone could be Daniel Day-Lewis and just become a new person. Like, you know, an act, basically. You know.
But a lot of people do.
What about
Something
47 Ronin? Did that change from Neo?
Not at
did
all.
in general. I don't know. I haven't
No
seen
one's
it.
seen the movie except for you.
I have.
You are literally...
I saw it in the theaters.
He did. I remember
Okay,
that.
Eric-
In the theaters.
This...
Multiple theaters.
I know this is being recorded in early September, but this is actually the April 1st podcast, because there's no way. That's not a prank.
That's Keanu Reeves. When you brought up Matthew McConaughey, if he hadn't been in True Detective, he'd be right there. It would be a tie between those two actors because they're kind of the same guy.
Why McConaughey?
They're kind of the same guy. Like McConaughey is, whether he is in like The Lincoln Lawyer or something, or he's done a million different roles, like Fool's Gold, I think it was.
Into the Blue, you're thinking of, actually.
He wasn't in Into the Blue.
No, I
that
believe
was
that
the
Hayden Christensen.
no. That was the drive-in guy. I believe.
I'm thinking
Oh,
of...
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
I'm thinking-
Joyride.
I'm thinking about a movie...
Not Fast and Furious.
But anyway, yeah.
Joyride.
So Fool's Gold, I think, is him and
Just Alba?
no,
That's Into
the
the Blue,
blonde girl. It doesn't matter who it is. But
Doesn't
anyway,
matter.
so he's kind of the same dude that he was in. What did I bring up? I don't know. The other movie that he's.
10 Ghosts of Girlfriend's Past?
Yes, same guy.
I've also seen that movie.
I have as well.
I know.
Caleb loves that movie.
I disagree.
Okay, but now that role in True Detective, that's just a completely. He is nothing like
Dallas Buyers Club.
I've yet to see.
Right, but
Dallas
I
I'd
Buyers
also like to
Club.
see that movie.
Yeah.
So would I.
Yeah.
Movie night.
So just an amazing transformation of man. It's Matthew McConaughey as a down and out detective. Holy crap! Matthew McConaughey is a down and out detective. You know?
So, as a summary, we have Kimbo Slice as a general, Matthew Broderick for Michael Nelson.
Fuck you, brother.
Fuck you. That doesn't work.
yeah.
Fuck you, Roderick. Like
Yeah.
Matthew, but it's fuck you instead. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Rod
Ryan,
fuck.
They're not all gold, people. Not all gold.
Matthew Broderick.
Because we're prodding him.
We're prodding his dead body, or the dead body that he
he's
had.
dead.
Matthew
your-
Broderick Grimes.
Your horse-faced wife's a better back to the...
Oh, poor horses.
Yeah.
Mine was Steven Seagal,
Yes.
and Eric Fisher wrongly chose Keanu Reeves. I can accept Kimbo.
Right.
I can accept Matthew. I can accept my own.
Keanu's bad, man.
Keanu's pretty bad.
Yeah, he's a bad dude. I agree.
To save the
It's
president.
bad enough to...
Bad enough dude to save the president. Door opens. You walk out into the day. Somebody walks by, gives you $1 billion. Okay?
Happens all the time.
Question's not going to be, what would you do with your money? The question is specifically, what's the first thing you do? The absolute first knee-jerk reaction. What do you do?
They hand it to you in a briefcase?
Sure. You just get
And
you
you-
get $1 billion. What's the first thing you do? You know, it's not like it's a huge surprise.
with the money.
Yeah.
Just not like Do you jump for joy? Do you
No.
scream? Okay, good.
But like, what's the first thing you do? It's not like it's a huge.
You
surprise
purchase.
get it.
It's a purchase of some kind.
Or an activity.
Oh, okay,
or,
okay, that's
Or
fine.
donation. What's the
Oh.
first thing you do? I have my answer already. If
then
you guys-
yeah, go right ahead.
My first thing I would do is I would buy one item from each fast food restaurant and just basically kill myself.
And then
with
you
it.
die.
Yeah. And then
yeah.
I get your money. Right?
But like that, I think that would be a lot of fun way to stay connected to my roots. As a poor person.
Yeah.
I think that's a really fun way to just, hey guys, I'm rich. Give me that. Does anybody else have an answer already?
Kind of like mine's a little boring. Like I feel like I would just like be really nervous. Like I always fantasize about this. And I'm like, man, I would screw this up somehow, and I'd want to like hire somebody like a financial advisor.
Right.
Like, but I mean, to like a non-boring answer.
There's no difference between boring and non-boring. That's the first thing you would do.
Yeah. I think I would do that.
What's the first thing you do, Eric?
You mean you would hire?
Yeah, hey, hire an
Just
accountant.
make sure
It's
I
safe.
am not real solely
responsible
for all this shit right now.
Oh, okay.
Someone, yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
I trust myself enough for that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't.
Right,
I
yeah.
don't.
That's what I went to school for,
Right,
kind of, so that's
yeah.
fine. I think knee-jerk reaction would be joy, obviously, but I think I'd find, like, the nearest person who just looks down on their luck. Even someone,
Oh, yeah.
not necessarily a homeless person, because
Sure.
maybe there's no one homeless around or whatever, but just someone who looks down or something.
Yeah.
$500. Just hand them $500 and say, have a fucking good day, bro. Because I think I'd do that. Like, if I have $1 billion, I'm probably going to do that anyway.
Right.
Like, as a thing. So that's to start that, to see how that feels. Because I've never given anyone.
But would you fear that they would mug you?
No. I mean, so I have it in a suitcase or something? The
Well,
money?
no. That you would have it in your bank or whatever. You would
Right.
just withdraw $500.
Right, yeah, I would just withdraw.
But I would be
$500.
very worried that if I just walked up and gave $500 to a stranger, they would think this guy's really fucking rich. I'm going to beat his ass and try to take his money.
I would tell him I have nothing else. This is all the money I have right now.
Yeah, but he's not going to believe you.
Yeah.
This vampire.
Do you think everyone's at, like...
I think
I don't know.
I think it's a lot more of an option than I would be comfortable with.
It's a risk.
Oh, okay,
man.
and that's fine. I get that it could be risky, and you don't know strangers.
Or maybe they think they're not obligated to give you head. Could you live with that?
uh,
Or maybe they think you're trying to purchase them.
right,
Yeah.
right. All of those things are
Totally reasonable and not crazy.
what he said.
I mean, you could do it in a form of a tip at a.
Yeah,
know,
that's,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Right.
People do that like
Yeah,
on the chive. I see that all the time. Like people say, wow, somebody said keep calm and chive on, and they get left on the receipt, and they
Right.
left me $100 tip.
Yeah,
today.
and I think that's what I would do.
just random acts of...
Random kindness.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
for-
Probably would
but I
do
want
that,
to
too.
see how that. I don't know how charity feels. Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I've given a couple bucks here and there to a homeless guy or downtown, but I've made a couple $20 donations here and there, like on a debit card, whatever. But
Yeah.
I have no
Buy-
idea
buy
what
a
it
candy
feels
bar
like.
outside of Walgreens
Yeah,
or something.
But I have no idea how that might hurt. That even though I'm a billionaire,
Yeah,
I could
giving-
see like I got $500 in my hand,
I take
right?
that.
Giving it to someone, I like that's it. Could just
Yeah.
I don't know how that feels, so I want to kind of do a
Experience that.
test run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What about you, General? What's the first thing you would do?
I'll be sort of like excited, but
What would you do?
I will probably ask one of y'all, what should I do with the money?
You would tell people right away, though. You wouldn't keep it a secret or anything like
Yeah, I would let my closest friends know.
Okay.
As
Some
you-
guy just came along.
You would have to make sure it was the people you trust the most.
As he
Yeah.
stares longingly at
Yeah.
Nelson.
Well, I think I would be on that list.
As he stares longingly.
that.
But go ahead, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, I
But
will.
what was you're spending the money in some way. What would you spend on? The first thing you do.
Could be anything.
Could be
Small, big, huge. Something. First thing that comes in your head, man.
Man, that's kind of hard, man.
Is it?
I mean,
You don't ever fantasize about that?
I mean, like,
Fantasize.
buy my own little place of my own.
You want to buy a home?
Oh yeah, hell yeah, be a man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome. That'd be one of my
Buy my mom a house. Buy her a horse.
Oh, you're buying
a horse. Oh shit.
So my new mom a new car because she probably might need it.
Very nice, man. Marie would like that.
Can we make it rain?
Just like make it like a blimp. Like you just drop.
Yeah, that'd be chaotic.
really
It would
rain.
cause.
Like one time,
Maybe you'd want to. Maybe you.
Oh, you just want to watch the world burn?
No,
Maybe
a city block.
Maybe we'll make it rain.
That was like sort of,
you know?
Oh god.
Oh,
sort of like,
Mr. Burns, yeah. Oh yeah.
that was sort of.
Heard it's not that deadly though,
Pull it out. Pull it out.
because of wind resistance and stuff.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, you can drop a quarter from like the top of the Sears Tower, and it's not going to hurt someone more than.
Me and make a.
So we went from.
Sorry for that.
You know, we went from money to cranial indentations. It's what we do. So this next one's guest submission from actually Kayla, my girlfriend. She'll probably be a guest of the
Who's
show
Kayla?
at some point. Yeah, I know.
Never
My
met
secret
this
girlfriend
person.
from Colorado. Who?
She's a model. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Weird and inappropriate.
A weird Brazilian model from Colorado. No, but Kayla came up with a really cool one. She knows that we do this stuff, and her topic was, what would you do? What would change about your life and how you live if you had a 500-year life expectancy? If instead of the typical person lasted 80 years, 70 years,
Yeah.
everyone is probably going to last about 500 years. You know, if you're a normal, healthy individual, you're going to live about 500 years.
That changes so much.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So like, people want to retire now around 70.
72, I think, is like kind of the average
Okay.
or something like that.
Yeah.
So now
65 is the legal, like, social
Right, so
So
security.
when
one
would
really
be
has.
like old age for a 5?
I'm assuming that the progression of age is
It's
similar.
similar, so
60.
okay. So if you live typically 80 years,
Yeah.
and you're old right around 60, let's say,
Mhm.
so that's 3/4,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
100%.
Yeah, 25% left of your life.
Yeah.
So, in that same 500 years, for, what's that? 375.
Something like that.
Yeah, 375. Right around
would be-
400.
This
yeah.
is not the math podcast.
Yeah, not the
And-
math.
And then
podcast.
you're gonna have
100
potentially
years,
125 years of being an old person.
Right around 100. Yeah, right around 100 years.
Fragile.
Of
Potentially,
being,
that's what. Yeah.
Fragile and
At
brittle.
you are
Yeah.
you're
And it will
Ripley's
progress.
Believe It or Not.
It's going to progress the same
Right.
way because we're talking about your typical, healthy human. So year 400 is right around your typical healthy 60-year-old. There's there's 70, 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds who still run and do
Right.
things like that. So we're going to say someone like that, someone who kept up with themselves.
Sure.
Kind of thing.
Well, my first thought is
Yeah.
we're fucked
Okay.
because
Yeah, birth rates.
that people would have to you're allowed to have maybe one child.
But let's think about this. Also, if your age slows down, wouldn't pregnancy also slow down? Wouldn't pregnancy be 5 times
take longer.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, we'll go with that. We didn't get that far when me and her.
Well,
were
then
discussing
I'm guessing people that it would be a fuck. I don't want to be pregnant for
Yeah, you like
4 years
Like
or
an
something.
elephant
I
or
don't know.
something.
But
yeah.
consider this: their sense of time would be much accelerated.
Yeah, I
That's
guess
how-
I'm
that's how
seeing it
brains
as
work. Because
something happens and fuck, I'm living.
with memory, the way memory works is
Mhm.
that if you've encountered a similar situation or something, if you're doing like how you drive to work,
Mhm.
if you drive to work every day the same way, that speed is going to skyrocket through. But if you drive a different way every day, it's going to be a longer length of time because your memory is holding more science shit.
I'm
Right.
getting what you're saying. Yeah.
So if-
we would,
If you're making if your memory
it wouldn't be
right, it wouldn't be making the same connections it would. So
for
time would be sped up for most people.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, what a month feels like for us, a year is going to feel like for,
Eventually.
Yeah, right.
When they're 150 years old, 200 years old,
I would not
I would not like it.
live that long. I wouldn't want to go over 100 years.
Really?
I wouldn't
Really?
either.
You wouldn't?
Especially not
Why is that?
if your childhood was extended,
Yeah.
you're going to lose the magic.
Okay. What?
I knew seen a lady
Yeah?
on TV who
Yeah.
was, I
'Cause
guess she
Matt-
grew up to be 110 years old.
Childhood is kind of a like a magical time where you're finding things out, everything is new.
Uh-huh.
Imagine being a 50-year-old child. You've kind of seen a lot of things. You played all the games. You want to be an adult.
So every
You're stuck.
period is
Right.
you don't. 18
But is it?
is no longer
Yeah.
adult.
I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah, I
I
didn't
mean,
think
is
of
it
it
going
that
to go? Do we do it because of physical aspects of the person now? You know, like 18, they're physically mature, and that means they're a man or a woman, or do we do it because they've accumulated as of a teenager knowledge, blah blah blah. All so at 20, like maybe you're still physically a child in this world, in the
Right.
500-year-old world.
in
But
society.
right, but you've seen shit, like you
Right.
said. You've seen your childhood is kind of over in that sense of
So what you're saying is that your body doesn't mature, but your brain does.
well,
Because there's a lot of aspects of
Yeah.
children. They are, you got object permanence, you got emotional
sure.
complexity, you have all those things.
Mhm.
I would hate to be 50 years old and not understand jealousy. I would hate to be that. I would not understand empathy.
Okay, but do you think you thought of that as you're also not self-aware in that way also?
You kind of are. Like when you're like 2 or 3 or whatever, the way the science works or whatever is that you understand things going around about you, but you don't understand what you're feeling or why you're feeling that.
Right.
And it bothers you.
Right. And that's why the terrible twos are the terrible
Yeah,
twos.
yeah.
You can't communicate.
You can't, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would say that goes well into adolescence. That's until you don't start thinking about thoughts and really understanding why
Still feel it.
you were.
That's called metacognition.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Fuck you.
Your typical teenager, they know a little bit more than your 2-year-old, but they act a lot like a 2-year-old because they still haven't had the life experience and stuff that maybe their brain is fully matured at this time at 18 or whatever, but even your typical 18-year-old with a fully matured brain physically,
Well, it's not fully
you
mature.
know,
18, but
yeah, whatever the
yeah.
age is, whatever the age is, even us in our, mid to late 20s,
Early 20s.
right, our late teens that we are, we're all babies here. We're all children.
High fives
You know,
all around.
All around. Even at our age, we're still not, your typical 50-year-old now has tons of wisdom compared to us, or they'll at least tell you that, my mom says that all the time, that like, I've been through twice as much stuff because I'm twice your age, that kind of thing. And in a lot of ways, that's true. So it's more of a,
But it could also be someone who was her exact age, maybe wasn't through half of what you
Yeah. So it's not a physical thing. It's not any of that. It's not your age even. It's your life experience. So
But that's dealing with wisdom and all that. But there is a physical reality of maturation.
Sure.
Whatever you want to call it. That you like.
I think it's a tennis term.
What? I didn't hear.
What's that?
maturation. He made a tennis joke. It's awful. Let's go.
Okay.
Hit that ball, girl.
Okay, now we have to leave that in.
Yeah.
Just hit that ball, girl.
Hit that ball, girl.
I was fine.
Yeah, you're
I-
maturation.
Excuse me. But the idea is, what's the progression of the age of physical, mental? That has to be laid the groundwork before you can even talk about how.
Well, I guess it's in the same. The first quarter of your life is all the growing. The second quarter of it is young adulthood. So that's the second 100 years is essentially late teens to your 20s, 30 almost.
So in this world, you
Yeah.
spend 30, 40, maybe 50 years as a hormone-raging, sexually not all matured
Right?
Beast.
beast, sure.
Sure, whatever.
But you spend 20 to 50 years like that?
Yeah, probably close to almost 100 years.
I think the world would end.
Yeah.
But we're still saying now, but also, okay, now we have the wizened people of our world are all the elderly who are, kind of losing a lot of their cognitive function and stuff.
Sure.
And even the middle-aged people who are, are you really that wise at 50 years old? Now, you're talking about a 300-year-old is your typical middle-aged person,
Sure.
or whatever else, who still has 200 years left. They've lived 300 years. They've seen 300 years of shit. They could probably better control or better mentor that teenage type
Right. It's also
mentality.
But it's really hard to come to the grips because you're assuming that people would live that long. I think it's a high possibility that a lot of people would commit suicide before that age.
Well, that's an answer to your thing, to the question of you wouldn't want to see all that there is to see to be essentially this age, the age that we are
Right.
now. For 100 years, we would be essentially this age or close to it, or this physical. 100 years of you could dedicate your life to basketball. We've both talked about we'd really like to be good at basketball.
Oh, yeah.
We love it. I can only dedicate so much of my time to even, thinking about playing basketball or whatever else.
Right.
I could play a lot of basketball in 100 years. I get really good,
But then the people who already have that talent that
Or have that time
are going to have that time, and then
there's new levels.
it's possible that you're not even gonna even be able. You think you're good, but you're not. You know what I mean?
Well, I think there's a leveling off. If we're just simply talking of physical abilities, you can only get so strong. Your vertical can only grow so much. You can
only live so long.
Right. Right. In our world, right. But in this world, the time that it takes to just be good at something, like you're going to be really, really good at shooting threes. And the difference between you and Stephen Curry is going to be pretty small. If you dedicate 50 years, to shooting nothing but threes, he can dedicate the same 50 years and he's got the physical talent to be slightly better than you.
Okay.
But he's not. You can only shoot threes at an 80% clip, man. That's it, Like
maybe.
So in a physical sense,
maybe it becomes 100% at that point.
That's impossible. But yeah, even if it's 100, okay,
know.
So it's the difference between an 80%,
100%.
and 100%. Because it's not. The difference is so much smaller.
But my thing would be, if you miss people, I don't want to play with this guy. He can't make every shot.
But it's the time and the fun aspect of it, and just getting to that expert level, and you have the ability to become an expert at so many things. Sure. You're going to be an expert at guitar. You're going to be an expert at basketball. You're going to be an expert,
and you have the drive to want to do all those things.
But even then, I don't think that drive exists. Why would you ever be good at guitar? Every music has ever been made at that point in time. If you've been alive for 300 years of music, nothing is new.
No. Imagine what music was 300 years ago and what it's going to be 300 years from
but you weren't there for the 300 years of progression it took to get there. You're going to be so bored with music by that point in time, in my opinion.
Oh, I don't know. I think
as a person who wants to create music, or just as a fan of music,
both. Like you look. I watch a lot of interviews with Paul Gilbert. He's an amazing guitarist. He's done basically every style, and he says, "I really don't have any interest in making any more music other than jazz music." Blues. He's done. He's been making guitar music for 40 years.
Okay,
that's one person.
But he's one of the experts. Air quotes.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
But even if someone like him can get bored in 40 years, 35, 40 years, whatever. How are you going to extend that if you don't have the God-given talent?
But now, but he was able to devote 40 years of his life to becoming the pinnacle of guitarist.
Yes.
And he doesn't want to do it anymore. Great, that's fine. Right. He doesn't have to have any kind of regrets on, man, I wasted or whatever 40 years of my life doing it. No, I became an expert. I became awesome. I released records, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Now I can go become an awesome fly fisherman But nowadays, people have to make those sacrifices. You can't be an expert at 30 different things.
It's not about the regret. It's about the idea of getting bored with it.
but that's okay. That's even if that is his.
Because you don't feel like
actual
you've
thing.
wasted your
Right.
whole life.
But it's not about wasting your life. It's that why would you devote all your time to somebody that already bores you?
Because that 40 years, you had a good 40 years.
When
didn't bore you
When
for
is it
40
boring
years.
you in your?
But let's say
Scenario.
music wasn't your first choice. You've been listening to music for 80 years, 120 years.
Sure.
At that point, I think music would be boring.
Okay, and that's fine. So you never have to listen to music again if you don't want to, or at least not as a active going to concerts, whatever the case may be. Now you can become an expert, air quotes again,
Right.
in beer. In brewing and tasting beer.
So you see that throughout your entire life, you'd go through multiple phases of your hobbies, your interests, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to right now. I would love to, like I just said, I would love to learn and be an awesome guitarist. I'd love to be a really good basketball player. I'd love to know everything there is about beer. I'd love to learn multiple languages. These are all things but I'm never going to do all those things.
But you want to learn all those things with the idea that you know that your time is limited. If you knew your time was almost unlimited, I think that might change.
I don't see why. I mean, I see what you're saying,
right.
that it might change, but I don't see why the drive to experience something and experience it deeply, experience in a very unique way. Because it's one thing to I know a couple chords on guitar, sure, but yeah, a lot of people do, But to actually maybe be good enough to put on a show, even just one show in my life, even if it took me 20 years, but I put on a badass rock show. Cool, that's cool. Or I played 1-on-1 with Stephen Curry and kept up with him, whatever.
But my idea is that I would not want to live it on because things would lose everything. They'd lose all of their meaning, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because there's only so many games of basketball you can play before you've played every game of basketball. Every permutation, you can't.
But you're not immortal. It's a difference between the talking about, being unending, being
I think
immortal.
500 years is pretty close to being immortal.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's a big difference. Between you knowing you're going to die. You're going to die of old age. So there is still meaning of when you're at 400, you know that 4/5 of your life is over, and you got to start making some decisions on.
Let's say you're paralyzed.
Yeah.
Born, or I don't know. Maybe you're not even born. You're year
50.
Year 100.
Yeah.
You're paralyzed. But just from the waist down.
Terribly.
Well, maybe, but now
I got at least 200 more years in this. At least that.
Yeah, right.
Fuck.
That brings up the question of technology. Right. There's a decent. There's not a you get paralyzed today and you're 30 years old.
Yeah.
There's a very small chance that they're going to figure it out in your lifespan.
Well, they kind of already are.
Yeah, in some ways, but to get the legislation going into all of these things, you're rolling a dice right now. You got a much better chance, a significantly better chance that in 100 years from now, you're going to be fine, and you're still going to have another 300 years of walking or robot legs or whatever.
Even you particularly, you have enough time to. I'm just going to devote the rest of my life to trying to figure this out.
Yeah,
and you have so much time, and you have.
I would never do that.
Okay.
I
think if you were if that situation was bad enough for you, I don't think it's that bad of a situation, but if it was for you, you'd be motivated enough to do it.
A lot of people, yeah.
I don't think it's that bad of a situation, though, personally.
No. There's
General, what do you think about
Would
you're able to live 500 years? How do you feel about that?
But all those honeys, General.
I mean, but I'll be old.
No, it's the same life, you're the same physical person.
For 100 years, you're about 20. For 100 years, you're about 40. For 100 years, you're about 50, 60, whatever, It progresses.
No birthdays. Century birthdays.
I mean, it will be okay, but someday it get kind of stale.
Right.
You living longer than other people.
No, everyone.
Everyone lives, not just you. The whole world as a whole has this lifespan.
How do you think it would change? Change the way you look at life? Change the way the decisions you make? Would it change anything?
You'd have time to finally grow your fro out.
But everything would be the same. I mean,
I agree, General.
Oh,
yeah. Imagine, okay, people get married when
20s, early 20s.
But
you know, like
even
when
in
they
this
like-
world,
No, in this world.
in this world, probably
Like-
after 100 years.
like when they
100
like
years,
Probably.
you marry the love of your
20,
life.
like when they 23.
Right, so we'll say 100
About
years
100
old.
Yeah.
You marry her. This is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. You get, let's say 100 years with this person.
Sure.
Something happens, they die.
Right.
And you can't go on and, you don't want to,
Go on.
like, fuck, another 100, 200, 300 years without, and if you believe in the concept of seeing this person again in the afterlife, like, fuck, I'm not going to see her.
Well, that definitely
until-
changes it.
for another
Yeah.
200 years.
Yeah, I think it especially changes it, like you said, with
Right.
with an afterlife, if you think
Yeah.
of an afterlife.
I think you would have to, the Dr. Kevorkian type thing, I think would have to become legal.
Okay.
I also,
with this.
but that brings up an idea of what if, say, every 100 years you just live a different life?
You could.
No, I'm not saying like you could. I'm saying you.
Different. Yeah.
Okay, hun, it was a great run. 100 years are up.
If you
Out.
want,
No, you have to.
Oh,
you have to.
God, that
Yeah.
change. Yeah, that changes.
Well, you think about
Oh,
that though, because like
yeah.
all your job would change. Your
You're
life would
issued
change.
a new
life. You're gone.
Everyone is.
Yeah,
Nope.
Yeah, no, that in that sense.
but let's say you still know all your friends or whatever.
Right.
You still know your family, but you're.
But let's say you have to go across the country, across
Right.
the world.
Yeah.
But what if that was the way that the government would try to end chaos or rioting because of just staleness?
Right.
That's a way to combat everything being the same. There's no what do you call it? Innovation,
Mm-hmm.
new
Yeah.
minds. They push everyone. Okay, you've been 100 years as a pilot. Great job. Go test your luck as a doctor. Go for it.
I feel like you guys keep saying stale and say that, people might get bored or want to kill themselves or whatever else. I see it almost entirely different as, okay, right now I have to make a decision. I made the decision at 18 to go to college. I went to college. I knew that was going to be a financial burden. I knew it was going to be a time, blah, blah, blah. It was going to be, I ended up being in college for like 7 years, basically, undergrad and grad school. So 7 years at that point in my life at 25 is like over a quarter of my life was spent in school.
Yep.
That's a huge portion of my life.
Non-mandatory.
Non-mandatory, right. So that's a big sacrifice. You're making a sacrifice, and you got to weigh that decision.
Yeah.
4 years in this world, in the 500 years, that's no sacrifice. It's nothing.
So school is still the same length.
Well, yeah. I
That's
mean,
impossible, though. Because if you spend 10 years as a preteen,
Yeah.
are you in elementary school for 10 years?
well, I think the same standards and everything to get into school don't change. You have to score X amount on a placement test.
Right, but
You have to.
a lot of
There are people who are preteens who graduate college, so it's not your age; it's your
but
ability.
those people tend to have issues later in life just because of their emotional maturity.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine, but we're just simply saying that college
but-
is
So
a
everything
force.
stays
Still,
the
I think
same.
I don't think that changes.
You see
Okay.
this as
I didn't.
different activities of what you do with your life.
Yeah.
I see this as different emotions.
Okay.
At 100 years old, I've probably felt everything there is to feel. I felt intense sadness. I felt intense regret. I know there's not going to be anything surprising. I know everything I'm ever going to feel.
I don't know that, because I think your emotions are so very based on your experience. So you
But-
haven't experienced everything yet. Like if you've never, let's say you're 50 years old and you've never been in love at that point,
Sure.
or whatever, and you find someone and they break your heart,
Sure.
now you've felt what that feels like, or whatever. If that happens super early on in your life, like your first love was at 13 or something, and Now you look back and you laugh because you're like, I didn't know anything about the world. I didn't, this was the first girl I had ever dated, So it's your experiences matched with those emotions. Yes, those emotions are kind of still the same, that heartbreaking thing.
We're going to switch this on the head. You were talking about attaching emotions to experiences. Let's take this the other way. Let's attach emotions or experiences to emotions.
Right.
You can go to a movie right now, you can see a funny movie, and it would make you laugh.
Sure.
I don't think that's possible in 100 years. I think you've seen everything a movie could give you in 100 years. Do you disagree, Nelson? Do you think in 100 years they can come out with
We're just not going to be able to come up with new creative things.
I don't believe so.
But if you guys are saying technology and things are growing,
right,
and our society is becoming more and more advanced,
sure,
then I disagree. I think we're whether it's finding something new or just creating new types of technology that we thought we'd never had before. I think
I did not think about the technology aspect of that.
Yeah. Like one thing that in the business world, in America, when someone does like a business plan,
sure,
like a company like GE or something, they'll do a business plan and they'll forecast 5 years ahead of time. They'll say, this is where we want to be at 5 years from now. This is how much money we're going to make. This is our global reach in 5 years. That's our mentality as like American business people. In Japan, they make 100-year business plans just because that's their culture, the collective culture, that kind of thing. And these are companies that exist today, your Mitsubishis and your Sonys and stuff. They'll go, and it sounds ridiculous. 100, none of you people are going to be alive. Your kids are probably not even going to be alive.
But their culture is
their culture is saying that, but we still want to plan for 100 years from now, because it matters. So that's the same kind of thing. I think it goes back to the risks you can take as a person. Like I was equating college to be, that's a huge financial risk. It's a huge time risk, blah, blah, blah. It's not as much of a risk anymore. So it's just something, it's almost like, well, yeah, it goes without saying. Of course I'm going to go to college because like the risk of not going to it and the risk of going is, it's not even equitable.
So everyone goes to college.
No, because some people don't want to, but to me, to break into anything that I wanted to do, personally, do I love it that much? Do I love, the marketing world or whatever the case may be, the digital world that much to risk a quarter of my life, trying to learn
up to that point?
Yeah. Well, of course I do. If it's only a fifth of my life that I have to waste, let's say. Of course, it's worth the risk.
Yeah.
For me, I had to weigh it out a little bit more, and still to this day, I'm still weighing it out.
But really quick, just an idea is that if people have been in the market business for 300 years, don't you think they'd have more to teach?
Yeah.
So wouldn't school be longer?
It's a possibility, but I don't think school ever teaches you to be an expert. Like college isn't about.
But wouldn't they? In this new world, if you're expecting to be this person for so long, why wouldn't they want you to be an expert? And you have the time to devote to college. You have it. It's there.
Sure, but and it could be. But if we're talking about constant technological changes and everything else, innovation is still happening in this society. I think we agree on that.
Yeah.
Then you'd just be in school forever. But school realizes still to this day that even the stuff that I learned freshman year isn't the same thing. Like when my freshman year of college, I don't think Twitter existed.
No.
That's a crazy thing to think of. But by graduate school, we were definitely talking about marketing on social media and using Twitter and things of that nature. So in that same thing,
space billboard.
Yeah, you're going to talk about what's reasonable for the 5 years that you are, and then the rest is the on the job training. They still expect you to learn on the job, to think on your feet.
So as a quick, just a recap of everything, I don't think I could live that long. How about you, Nelson?
No, I have a problem now seeing myself as like a 70-year-old. I think of that and I'm like, man, that doesn't sound appealing to me today.
And
that could change, but in my life today, no.
General?
You
undecided?
I really can't really see myself is 80 years old. It kind of scares the shit out of me.
So even being 400 years old sounds.
Yeah, that would make me cry, man.
And then Eric?
I could never do enough. There's just so much in this world. It's ever changing. So I would want to live 1,000 years. So
Wow. Hey.
Damn.
I mean,
Well. Good topic. I like that one a lot.
Fun. We like to end all of these with a little game. This one's going to be called General Knowledge.
Okay, so basically, General, what's going to happen is I'm going to ask you a question about some random thing in the world. Just tell me what you feel, think, know, anything you want to say about this topic. General, how do you feel about hockey?
I mean, it's to me, it's kind of cool. You get to slam people and put their shirts over their head and beat the shit out of them. You just get stress off yourself, But as me playing it, no, I'm not fit for that sort of thing.
Why?
Nope.
All right, General. So we know how you feel about winter sports. But how do you feel about winter?
Me, as a child, I loved it. Throwing snowballs, sledding off the roof and getting in trouble by my moms. Back in the day when I was younger, we played this little game, me and my friends, that we hit a girl with a snowball, that'd be your girlfriend.
That's amazing.
What do you think about Miley Cyrus?
As a Disney character, she was decent, but as soon as I saw her in the dancing on stage, she just lost my interest.
Next time on Ally McBeal. Acapella song groups. I forget what we were supposed to say. I can redo it again.
Acapella theme song.
Acapella theme song. I forgot what the whole thing was.
And that's the Machine of Nonsense.
Yes.
No!